Like finding a Guap that killed Zeke.
I'm sorry. I was not aware that a GTG member was involved in Zeke's death.
Now, a relationship that took a turn for the worst in Season 2 of Ghost was Monet Tejada and Diana. After all hell broke loose at the dinner table in Episode 8, where Diana blew up Monet's secret that she held for 24 years, things haven't been the same since. But not only was Monet's secret revealed, Kane's powdered sugar move, however, was still breathing, and Monet's relationship with Dante Spears was all revealed. Let's also not forget, on less than 2 occasions we even saw Monet threaten to kill Diana for going behind her back, once when she had Lorenzo released, which resulted in her killing the contractor, and after the Zeke reveal. So coming back to the present day, this is a death that Detective Whitman put in front of Monet in Ghost Season 3, among a few others, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. But Monet in this time really is in a vulnerable place. She's lost her eldest son, she still wants to leave the game, and her kids have all this independence she starved them of for 2 seasons of Ghost, but who's to blame? So in this video, we're going to be running through some of the history between Diana and Monet, how her previous mentoring may come in use in Episode 4 as they plan to take down Detective Whitman. I'm also going to bring in some of the teasers and scenes from the official trailer that we haven't seen yet, as well as connecting the dots as to why Diana could help Monet, but also how things could take a major turn after a major death in Power Book 2 Ghost Season 3. Now, over the course of the first season of Ghost, it was clear even though Monet was the leader of the Tejada organization on the outside, Lorenzo was clearly the one who was the shot caller. She made a point of how Lorenzo says and wants a lot of things, but he's not the one who's seeing the bigger picture on the outside. And I do think from Monet's perspective, she preferred it that Lorenzo was inside prison. Even though Lorenzo was calling some of the shots in regards to a few aspects, she still had a protection on the outside, which was Detective Ramirez. But with Lorenzo inside, she was able to put Diana, Drew, and Kane in positions she wanted. In essence, she was Lorenzo on the outside, which is why I think she never made a conscious effort to try and have him released, but Diana did. These are 2 characters who are very similar, but at the beginning, Monet wouldn't allow Diana to go to college, and that's because she was invested in keeping Diana close. Lorenzo even mentioned that she's too invested in Diana, and that's why she couldn't be anywhere near the business, but her position should be in school. Now compared to Lorenzo, Monet had other plans. She wanted to train Diana to maybe even be the brains of the operation and the leader of the Tejada organization. At every single chance Monet was testing her, she was questioning her. Why do you think Frank showed up? What's the next move? How do you think Frank got out so early?
What did you think about why he got out so early? Your dad ain't tell us?
How do we find out? We can't just ask him.
I can't. He might tell you though.
Now, when we come back to Season 3, you're going to begin to understand why I've specifically chosen to break down this part of Monet and Diana's relationship. Monet was teaching Diana that the male glaze that Uncle Frank gave to her in Season 1 made Frank feel like he had the power over her, when in fact, it was the complete opposite. Men fall in love with the image they see in your eyes, and that means you have power over them. Life isn't a fair game, and you have to use every single advantage and tool at your disposal to make it a fair playing field, and that goes from everything from the boardroom level to the streets. So fast forward to Season 2, we saw Diana putting this into action when it was Monet who was the one who was distracted.
But I handled it just like you taught me. Smile a little, flirt a lot, make them feel like they can get it.
Proud of you, D.
Smile a lot, flirt a little, make them feel like they can get it. And that was Diana putting in the work in regards to what Monet taught her in Season 1. So just like Kane was being mentored by Mecca, Tariq being mentored by Kanan, Tasha, and others, Diana was being nurtured and mentored by Monet. And we even once heard Kane say to Diana, "You're just like Monet." Dialogue like this can't go unnoticed. There's a reason why they specifically chose to put this particular dialogue in Seasons 1 and 2, because we are going to see a lot more than just this come to fruition in Season 3 and beyond. Now, at the beginning of Season 3, we were introduced to not only a broken Monet, but somewhat broken family as a whole. Monet was still mourning the death of Zeke. She allowed Kane and Drew to live in Mecca's penthouse that she inherited, while Lorenzo was trying to cover his tracks, and I do believe that he had an ulterior motive by allowing Diana to go to Sandsfield. It was a decision which was made not only to separate her from Monet, but also to send Diana away in case Monet ever asked her to go and find out the truth behind Zeke's death, who of course is Lorenzo. He knows Diana is a very smart girl, and if she was able to help release Lorenzo, as well as uncover the truth around Zeke's age, then it would have only been a matter of time before she did the same when it came to his death. But stupidity and reckless decisions from Lorenzo himself meant it was Kane who was the one who found out first. The major problem that Monet has at this moment in time is Detective Whitman. At the end of Season 2, Zeke going to the precinct and asking whether Carrie's death was a suicide made him investigate further. So he found Monet, who was caught at a traffic cam near Carrie's apartment, and that meant he was gunning for Monet. He stopped her in a bogus traffic stop and made it known he's going to keep on coming until he nails her for Carrie's death. But that's not all. Albeit his motives are different to Jenny and Blanca Rodriguez's, he helped them piece the puzzle together that would get the Rico the green light, and now Monet is in more danger than ever before, especially after she slipped up in the meeting with Whitman and Davis. In Season 1, Monet killed DC Joe and Rico. In Season 2, she killed the contractor that was working at her bar, which was thanks to Diana stealing her money from the safe. Let's also not forget, she also killed Mecca, and Detective Whitman really is close to connecting all the dots, and I do wonder if Mecca's bag, which has all the passports of them, will come back into play, so that's just something to bear in mind. Now, Davis specifically told Monet do not talk during this meeting. However, we all know Monet would never be able to hold back, and when she did, she gave him more ammunition. She told him she needed to focus on finding the guap that killed Zeke, and now that's going to send him on another investigation. Regardless of whether he's been put on death duty or not, Detective Whitman's motivation is justice for Carrie because he feels responsible for Carrie's death. So Detective Whitman is a huge problem, a problem that in my opinion can't be solved with a bullet, because killing a member of law enforcement wouldn't be exactly the smartest of ideas, and so we're going to see Monet approaching Diana for help. Now this is where we come back to the foundation that we laid earlier on in the video, Monet nurturing and mentoring Diana to use her charm. Monet really does need Diana, and I don't think she'd be approaching her for help if she wasn't desperate. But she is. She knows Whitman is closing in, and they need to come up with a plan to send him down the wrong direction. Diana's also someone who can use her charm, smile a little, flirt a lot, and make him seem like he can get it. And this is why I think Monet's plan is to have Diana approach Whitman and feed him bogus information. A very good point that a few of you guys made in the comment section was as far as Lorenzo was breathing, Diana would help the Tejadas because she's daddy's girl, and that's why I don't think Diana will switch on Monet, not yet anyway. When and if we do see Lorenzo's death, that could very well change, because in the official trailer we do hear Diana say it's all Monet's fault and it's always her, as well as the scene where it does seem like Diana is striking Monet, but it is difficult to tell who it is. Now we also see Monet pointing a gun in someone's direction, who I think could be Detective Whitman himself, as well as law enforcement raiding the Tejada house. And why would they be raiding the Tejada household? Could this have something to do with Detective Whitman, and are they set to get rid of him or make a risky play? Whatever Monet's plan is, she needs to do something quick, otherwise Detective Whitman is coming in with handcuffs, and believe me, nobody would love it more than Whitman to throw Monet in a jail cell. Something I do think is a possibility regardless of what happens with Whitman. Monet seems like the one who's in the biggest danger this season, and at some stage, I think law enforcement have to get a win. There is no way they don't nail someone for all these murders, so could Monet still be it? But that's a breakdown of the relationship between Monet, Diana, and why I believe the trailer for episode 4 may be manipulated in a way where it looks like Diana may be snitching on Monet, but how we may see Diana using her charm that Monet taught her in seasons 1 and 2 into action with Detective Whitman. They all know getting rid of Whitman is for the greater good, but even if Diana does help Monet, things will definitely start to take a turn based on the official trailer, and that's when and if Lorenzo is killed, because Diana really is someone who's daddy's girl. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section on Monet, Diana, and Detective Whitman. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.